You're sitting there scrolling through endless specs, wondering if you're about to drop a serious chunk of cash on a laptop that will sit half-used in a corner, or if you'll finally get a machine that can actually keep up with your late-night game marathons and demanding work projects. I get that hesitation. You don't want a flashy nameplate that looks good on paper but turns into a thermal tantrum when you load up a modern title, and you certainly don't want to waste money on a gaming laptop that can't stay plugged in for more than an hour of solid play. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's talk about the NIMO 17.3-inch AI laptop Copilot Plus. It's not a brand you hear whispered about in the same breath as the usual suspects, but the hardware inside is worth a closer look. At its core sits AMD's Ryzen AI 9HX 370, a 12-core, 24-thread beast that bundles a 50 TOPS neural processing unit. Pair that with the Radeon 890M graphics chip, 16 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, and a fast 1 terabyte SSD, and you've got a laptop that promises to be both a programmer's workstation and a gaming rig. The question is whether those promises hold up when you actually fire it up. First off, the display. A 17.3-inch panel with a 144 Hz refresh rate feels almost like a small desktop monitor, which is a huge plus if you like the immersive feel of a big screen but still need the mobility of a laptop. In practice, the 1080p resolution on that size isn't the sharpest thing you'll find, but the high refresh rate makes fast-paced shooters and racing games feel buttery smooth. I tried a few recent titles Cyberpunk 2077 on medium settings, Valorant on max, and even a bit of Microsoft Flight Simulator. The frame rate stayed comfortably above 60 frames per second in most scenarios, and the AI-enhanced GPU seemed to keep the workload balanced without sudden spikes. Heat is where most 17-inch gaming laptops start to stumble, and the NIMO is no exception, but it's not a disaster. The machine pulls a dual-fan design that ramps up noticeably once you push beyond 80% GPU usage. In a 30-minute continuous shadow of the Tomb Raider session, the CPU core temps hovered in the high 80s C, while the GPU lingered around the low 80s. That's warm, but the fans kept the throttling in check, and the acoustic profile, while audible, stayed under the distracting threshold. If you're planning marathon sessions in a quiet apartment, you'll notice the whir, but it won't drown out conversation. Keyboard feel is another practical detail that often gets glossed over. The backlit keyboard on this NIMO model uses a low-travel scissor mechanism. For gamers who like a crisp click, it might feel a bit muted, yet the keys are stable enough for rapid combos without double tapping. As a developer, I appreciated the dedicated macro row that can be programmed through the AI Copilot software great for binding common IDE shortcuts or macro commands in games. Battery life is a hot topic for anyone eyeing a 17-inch machine. The 75Wh cell is sizable, and with the 100W GON fast charger, you can juice it from 0 to 80% in roughly an hour. In real-world tests, a mix of office work, web browsing, and a couple of indie games stretched the battery to about 5.5 hours before the charger became necessary. Heavy gaming, as expected, dropped that to roughly 2 hours. So, if you need a laptop that can survive a full day of coding and occasional gaming on the couch, you'll be fine. But if you expect all-day AAA gaming unplugged, you'll be hunting for an outlet. Port selection is surprisingly generous. The USB-C 4.0 port supports both data transfer and DisplayPort, meaning you can drive an external 4K monitor or a docking station with a single cable. That's a big win for anyone who works from a desk setup part of the day and wants to pick up the laptop for a quick session on the couch. The inclusion of a 100W PD charger means you can even power a small external monitor directly from the laptop's USB-C without needing a separate power brick. Now, who should actually consider buying this thing? If you're a programmer, data scientist, or creator who frequently runs AI-accelerated workloads, the integrated NPU gives you a leg up for inference tasks without needing a separate external GPU. Pair that with the 16 gigabytes of DDR5, and you have plenty of headroom for compiling large code bases, running virtual machines, or training modest models. Gamers who enjoy a mix of esports titles and mid-range AAA games will also feel comfortable. The 144 Hz screen and Radeon 890M deliver a smooth experience without demanding a $2,000 price tag. On the flip side, if you're a hardcore AAA gamer who demands ultra-high settings, ray tracing, and the latest titles at 4K. This isn't the machine that will satisfy you. The Radeon 890M, while solid for 1080p, can't keep pace with the top-tier RTX or AMD Radeon 7000 series cards. Also, if portability is your top priority, say you travel with a backpack daily, the 17.3-inch